What if you had an entire century to master money and still got it wrong? Meet Walter. He's 100 years old. He's lived through the Great Depression, 2 world wars, the invention of the internet, and the rise of cryptocurrency. He's seen people go from rags to riches and from wealth to ruin. And when I asked him, "What do you regret most about money?" he didn't hesitate. He gave me a list. And regret number 3? It might change how you see your entire financial future. But first, let's hear his story. Walter's life, a century of change. Walter grew up in a small town where $1 could feed a family, and saving meant keeping coins in a jar under the sink. He got his first job at 14, survived on bread and butter during the war, and lived through more recessions than most of us will ever experience. But what he didn't survive were his own money mistakes. He didn't live a reckless life. He was responsible, cautious, and careful. But sometimes the most dangerous money decisions are the ones you don't even realize you're making until decades later. Regret number 1, I worked for money, but never made it work for me. Walter says, I gave my life to companies. 40 years of loyalty, clocking in and out. And what did I have at the end? A small pension and a few savings. He spent decades exchanging time for money. He worked hard. He provided. He did everything by the book. But he never learned how to make money work for him. He never built passive income, never invested early, never let his dollars grow on their own. It wasn't until his 60s that he even heard about compound interest. By then, the time he had to benefit from it was nearly gone. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn back time. Lesson: don't just work for money, make your money work for you. Even small investments made consistently over time can lead to life-changing results. Regret number 2, I saved. But I never built. Walter was proud of his savings account. He never spent lavishly. He lived below his means. But his money sat in a bank account, slowly losing value to inflation. He never bought real estate, never started a business, never invested in stocks. He was afraid of taking risks, so he played it safe. But in the long run, that safety cost him more than any single bad investment ever could. He watched the cost of living rise. Groceries became more expensive. Healthcare costs exploded. His safe savings couldn't keep up. Lesson: saving is the beginning. Building is the goal. If your money isn't growing, it's shrinking. Assets like real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or a small business can turn your savings into long-term wealth. Regret number 3. I waited too long to talk about money. This was the regret Walter spoke about most emotionally. He never taught his children about money, not because he didn't care, but because he thought he was protecting them. He believed finances were a burden children shouldn't carry. He thought he was doing them a favor. But what actually happened? They grew up financially unprepared. They made the same mistakes he did. Some fell into credit card debt. Others never learned how to budget. They lived paycheck to paycheck, even as adults. Walter told me, I thought silence was love, but what they needed was guidance. Money talk is often treated like taboo, but silence breeds ignorance, and ignorance is expensive. Lesson: talk about money with your kids, with your spouse, with your friends. Financial literacy isn't optional. It's generational wealth in disguise. Regret number 4, I thought I had more time. Walter always assumed he'd have time to figure things out. He kept saying, I'll start investing next year. When things settle down, I'll get serious about money. But things never settled down, and next year kept slipping by. By the time he was finally ready to take his finances seriously, decades of potential growth were gone. It's easy to put things off when there's no urgent deadline. But procrastination is one of the most expensive habits we carry. Lesson: you don't need the perfect moment to start, you just need to start. The sooner you begin, the more time your money has to grow. Regret number 5, I lived too cheap. And missed life. Walter lived frugally his whole life. He skipped vacations, avoided restaurants, never bought new clothes unless the old ones were falling apart. But looking back, he realized something heartbreaking. He missed memories. He missed moments. He skipped trips with his kids. He said no to adventures with his wife. He delayed doctor visits to save money. I saved dollar, he told me, but I lost decades of joy. There's a difference between being financially wise and being so frugal that you forget to live. Lesson. Money is meant to support your life, not replace it. Be intentional with spending, but don't sacrifice happiness for savings. Spend where it matters, on health, experiences, and the people you love. Regret number 6, I chased trends instead of principles. Walter admitted that he fell for financial trends. In the 80s, it was gold. In the 90s, dot-com stocks. In his 90s, it was cryptocurrency. But he never studied the fundamentals. He relied on tips from friends or headlines from newspapers. I was chasing something quick, but real wealth is slow. He bought high, sold low, repeated it, and realized that excitement and emotion are terrible investment strategies. Lesson: ignore the hype, follow principles. Long-term investing, diversification, and education always outperform trends over time. Regret number 7, I thought earning more would solve everything. Walter said there was a time he believed if he just earned more, his problems would disappear. He took overtime, picked up side jobs, sacrificed weekends. But the more he made, the more he spent. His financial issues weren't about income. They were about habits. He never tracked his spending, never created a budget, never learned to manage what he already had. He told me, I was pouring water into a leaking bucket. Lesson: more income doesn't fix poor money management. Master your current finances before chasing higher earnings. Discipline beats dollars. Regret number 8, I didn't ask for help. Walter always thought he had to figure money out on his own. He didn't ask advisors, didn't read books, didn't take courses. I was too proud to admit I didn't know, he said, so I stayed in the dark. He avoided tough conversations, ignored debt, missed out on tax breaks, lost years of opportunity because of fear and pride. Lesson: you don't have to do it alone. Ask questions, seek mentors, learn from others. Smart people ask for help. Walter's final words. Walter looked me in the eyes and said, I don't regret being poor. I regret being passive. He wasn't angry, he wasn't bitter, but he was honest. He said he wished he had taken more risks, had more conversations, started sooner, invested earlier, lived more fully. His life was long, but some lessons came too late. And now he shares his story so you don't make the same mistakes. Money isn't everything, but how you manage it touches everything you love: your health, your freedom, your family, your future. So don't wait until you're 100 to realize what you could have done differently at 30, 40, or 60. Don't let your future be full of silent regrets. Call to action. If Walter's story made you pause, reflect, or even feel a little uncomfortable, that's a good thing, because it means you still have time to change your story. Subscribe to The Wealthy Elder, where we bring you timeless lessons from those who've lived through it all, so you don't have to learn the hard way. Learn from Walter. Learn from others like him. Build wealth not just for you, but for the generations after you. Because wealth isn't just money, it's wisdom, and that starts today.